Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mebois Podcast, episode 15. It's your boy and your girl.
Yeah.
I'm the girl. It's y'all know who it is. It's Josh.
And Ray,
Yeah.
the girl.
I just I suddenly stopped liking the joke and just started disliking how
Where are we going?
disingenuous I was being. But yeah, back at it again for another food review.
This episode, alcohol in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah. Speaking of food, did you hear about that pizzeria owner who died in fucking Dominican Republic?
Was there a pizzeria owner?
Yeah, this is the latest one I saw, and he looks. Well, maybe I shouldn't speak ill of the dead. Well, no, it's not a bad thing, but he does look like a guy who owns a pizzeria.
Okay.
I'm allowed to say that as an Italian. He's. I don't think he's Italian, but yeah. So it's been so fucking weird because I haven't been paying attention to it too closely, but it feels like whenever I'm going into work, like on the train or whatever, I'll check the news, just like sort of like the front page stuff, and for like the past week or a little longer, I can't remember. It's like every day I'm seeing about a new death in like tourist hotels. I don't know if it's one hotel or multiple. I think it's majorly around the shit. Which one is that?
It says over the last year.
Boca Chica Resort.
Boca Chica. Okay.
Or at least that's where he went, the most recent guy. But I keep reading these stories of just like these randomly like somewhat healthy 50-year-olds dying after dying mysteriously after drinking something from the minibar.
Oh, right. It says a few of them were at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
That's what I was looking for.
Punta Cana. A few of them were there.
But then if this guy's in Boca Chica, I don't know. So that sort of goes into one of the things I wanted to talk about. But you just heard about this recently, right?
Yeah, well, I heard about it because we have a mutual friend going to Puerto Rico. And at the end of the call, I'm like, hey, safe flight, whatever. And he's like, oh, yeah, I don't want to be, the 13th American to die. And I'm like, what? He's like, oh, a lot of people have been dying in, like, the Dominican and Puerto Rico. And I'm like, oh, like, from what? He says, they go to the bar, and then they're found dead the next day. And now you're telling me it's only Dominican Republic, so this guy's completely paranoid.
Oh, no, yeah, he's just a fucking idiot. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, people die in Puerto Rico all the time, but I don't think it's related. But yeah, it's just it's got like that feel of like a Sherlock Holmes murder mystery.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Obviously, this is real life, but like immediately I was real interested because I'm like, wait a minute. All these people dying at like touristy hotels, most of them reporting having drank something. And then it's also interesting because you have to you're going through a foreign government to investigate these crimes. Well, potential crimes, who knows? And a government whose country gets a lot of revenue from tourism. Like that's the major cash flow. So it's like, that's a fucking tricky one. But I also feel like I keep on hearing so many stories, and then also you're hearing about multiple hotels. So it's like, wait a minute, like, let's be real here. Like, this isn't some like government orchestrated poisoning between hotels. My impression that I got was like some dude is definitely working at like the Hard Rock.
Yeah.
And he's just poisoning people.
Mm-hmm.
But then other people saying like, oh, this person went ill, this person went ill. I feel like it's a little bit of like people just being like hysterical, and like people who are just dying, they're also being like, oh yeah, and they also drank something. That must be how he died or whatever. There's 11 American tourists to die in the Dominican since last year. All in their mid-50s. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. And
I mean,
keep on reading the article and stopping talking.
our friend was talking about how like maybe part of what it could be is what these hotels and resorts are doing is like mixing the alcohol and watering it down, and maybe because of that something happens in the kidney, because he said something along the line, like he said something about how the toxicology kept coming back and it was all kidney failure.
Yeah, although I mean that's more indicative of poisoning than anything. I mean,
yeah, because that's what I said.
Obviously,
but then he said
watering it down isn't gonna poison you unless like you're watering it down with fucking antifreeze.
Your kidney's like, what are you, a bitch?
Yeah, I'm gonna kill you.
But
they're just so used to constantly drinking. My thoughts and prayers out to the 11 Americans. I mean, look, these people all made it to 50. That's more than most people can ask for.
One guy was 45.
Shit, too soon.
There was one like 67-year-old, but for the most part, yeah, they were all 50-ish.
So it all evens out. Evens out to a clean 55. No, it's just an interesting thing, and it's sort of like, I don't know. I mean, like the investigator in me wants to be like, okay, and then with this most recent guy, they offered to cremate him for the family. It's like, what are you trying to hide? That's just my first impression, because this feels like one of those stories that like probably years from now you'll hear the truth about.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just interesting, and I mean it's also pretty fucking spooky, because like you go on vacation, you're not thinking about that. Even though I mean you're going on vacation in like Dominican Republic, like if you leave your hotel, basically you're like fucking you're not the safest in the world, I'll be honest.
Yeah. No, I mean like recently also another incident in Dominican was fucking Big Papi got shot.
Yeah.
At some restaurant, I think it was.
Yeah, it was somewhere like semi-public. And so
like the first reports were he was shot in his home, but that obviously wasn't true. He's out somewhere.
Santo Domingo nightclub.
Yeah, I read somewhere that him getting shot was apparently a case of mistaken identity.
Which is so funny.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah.
But it's so funny to have mistaken identity for like a very famous baseball. He's retired now, right?
Yeah, he's retired.
So a very famous ex-baseball player. You mistake him for someone else?
Yeah, and I'm trying to think.
Well, I think he's Dominican, right?
He is Dominican, and that's what I was about. Like, I'm not super familiar with like the history of baseball and who's the biggest player to come out of the Dominican, but I have to imagine that David Ortiz is probably the most famous player to come out of the Dominican Republic. I know Alex Rodriguez is Dominican, but I think like he played for the U.S. team.
Yeah, he was. I used to like him a lot, because I'm not too big of like a sports fan in general, but when I used to watch baseball, I liked the Red Sox, and he was one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's a good dude too. Like, very likable. Great player.
His name's Big Papi.
Yeah.
Anyone with a nickname, I'm immediately more.
Alex Rodriguez's nickname is A-Rod.
A-Rod's a fucking dickhead.
He is kind of a dickhead.
And now he's fucking having sex every day with Jennifer Lopez. It's a cruel world.
Yeah. Dude, there was this, like, I was watching the baseball postseason, like, a couple years ago. And, like, on the analyst show, they would have A-Rod and Big Papi and a lot of other people. And it was a Yankees game that night. And, like, they're all, like, being jokey with each other, like, banter, and A-Rod's like taking out his ring from when he won the World Series with the Yankees, and he's like showing it off. And all I could think is, dude, you have one World Series ring. Big Papi's got 3. Why are you doing this?
He's looking at it like, oh, that's nice. And then A-Rod shot him.
Oh,
Case of mistaking me for giving a damn. Oh man, that's scary because like, fucking Dominican Republic's coming up with a whole bunch of new ways to die. Like, go on vacation, drink something, dead. You go out anywhere in public, someone's gonna mistake you for someone else and kill you.
Someone's gonna mistake you for David Ortiz.
Yeah, they're like, "You're Big Papi." Like I go to the Dominican Republic as a
Big
as a
Papi.
5'6" white dude.
Oh fuck!
I make like a swinging motion with my hands, like, yeah, that's me.
Oh man.
But yeah, I don't know. That shit's wild. I'm not trying to like fucking pick on the Dominican Republic, but like these are the fucking stories I hear.
Yeah.
From like, I mean, I've worked with somebody who like vacations there pretty regularly, and they don't leave the fucking like resort. And that's sort of how it goes with like places that are big tourist industries, but otherwise
Mexico.
aren't as. I mean, yeah, sure, certain parts of Mexico, yeah.
I know, like, I was, well, I guess maybe take this with a pinch of salt, but I was, like, watching a Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking to some reporter who is Mexican and covers Mexico and the cartel and whatever. And he basically the idea is that the higher-ups of the cartel tell everyone to leave tourists alone because Mexico needs that money.
Good. It's good for the country, really.
They need,
and it's good for the cartels too.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, but that's pretty wild that they can have that much control. But I guess I don't know. Maybe the higher ups in the Dominican don't haven't sent that message out just yet.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I bet the mistaken identity probably wasn't gang related. Maybe it was. This potential poisoning, I don't think is related at all. I feel like it's just somebody who's upset about something. I don't know what. And then I doubt all 11 cases are related. But I think people just sort of get like a bit hysterical when something like this starts happening.
Yeah, especially when it's like 13 or whatever it is now.
I think it was 11 so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's ground to be suspicious.
Yeah,
but I mean, who knows? It could just be like, I don't know, super bad food poisoning. Who knows?
11 people dying of food poisoning. Oh, this food's so spicy. I'm not used to this. It's just all 50-year-old white people trying spice for the first time. People think the Dominican Republic is trying to like cover it up, but really they're just trying to not embarrass these people. Like, okay, we just gave them a jalapeno, dude. Like, not that bad.
Moving on to another country. There's some drama in Australia.
That's right. Or in Israel, should we say.
Yeah. So, rugby player Israel Folau, I think is how you pronounce his last name, was fired by the Australian Rugby Union or Federation, whatever it is, for posting a homophobic message. Not message. It was a picture, wasn't it?
I think that's what it said. I don't
Yeah.
know exactly.
Homophobic picture on Instagram. And he is now taken to GoFundMe to fund his legal battle.
Right.
Immediately, first thought I had was this guy must not be the brightest.
Well, for multiple reasons.
Yeah, all the head clashes.
Oh yeah, that too. I wasn't even thinking about that. Dude has dementia at 30.
That's why.
Which I wouldn't wish on anyone except. Okay, so I think if we can, we should put up the picture of his wife, just because, like in many pictures, him and his wife look like not only are they related, but they're both men, at least to me. And this woman, I don't think she's really done anything except support her husband, who has done questionable things.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to pick on her, but if we put up the picture now, the first thing I said to Ray when I started talking about this story was, this dude's out here talking about homosexuals are going to go to hell, but he's dating a man.
Boy.
Yeah, I guess they're not dating; they're married, really.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That's
so
fine.
I mean, look, no, I mean, I'll go down that road.
Yeah.
So the thing he shared, or whatever, was basically saying like, homosexuals. Right. This is why people go to. So hell awaits for like homosexuals,
Atheists,
atheists,
adulterers.
liars, adulterers, that sort of thing. Like, it's so funny to see that too, because like, it does show a disconnect, because like, you're putting together so many things that are like universally thought pretty much as bad.
Yeah.
At least in some way, and then you're just like throwing homosexuals in there because like, oh, gotta keep up appearances. But I mean, it does bring up interesting questions, because like obviously, it was his personal social media account, but
Yeah.
that's also
But
public.
he must have it public.
Yeah, and working for an industry where, I mean, there's so many that do, but an industry that cares about social presence.
Yeah. And
the fact that I'm sure that when he signed his contract for $4 million, I'm sure he signed something that said like, hey, like if you do anything at all, we can just terminate you.
Yeah.
If you don't take enough hits to the head, we will terminate you. So
yeah. Also, I'm just wondering if the Rugby Union of Australia is I wonder if it's a private company.
I mean, it must be, right? I mean, unless it's like,
It just says it's the governing body on it, so it doesn't really say whether it's private or not.
I think the league would be private unless it's somehow like subsidized by the government. I mean, I don't know. It depends how big the rugby is in Australia, I guess, because I don't really know much about rugby in general. But it is very strange, because people are taking this in the angle where people are like, well, it's sort of his. Well, I mean, generally, people are just like, oh, this guy's just an asshole.
Yeah.
But other people are like, well, religious freedom or whatever, he should be allowed to say what he believes, etc. Which, I agree with to a certain extent. At the same time, well, first of all, he's allowed to say whatever he wants. He just has to deal with the repercussions of it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't begrudge a man being able to say that on social media. I just don't think that makes you immune to backlash.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, there's also the fact that, like, at least in my experience, right, when people say things like, hell awaits for homosexuals, etc., what you, what you're supposed to do as he's a Christian. What you're supposed to do as a Christian is you're not meant to judge,
Yeah.
right? You're only meant to. The only time you should be saying that is when you're guiding others to repent for their sin because you're concerned about them. But in my experience, right, when people say that shit, especially about gay people, like they're very vindictive about it. Like there's no like impartiality of just like, look, it's like I love you as a person, but I think this is wrong because blah blah blah. It like most of the time it's just like they just don't like gay people.
Yeah, I think
because they've been raised that way.
Yeah, that's the sort of vibe you get from this post. It's not like I disagree with your lifestyle or whatever it is. This is just, hey, you're going to hell.
Yeah. And it I don't know, it's just so like it's such a weird thing to put out there, and like I don't think there's never been a gay person who saw a post like that and just realized like, oh my god, what am I doing?
Can you imagine?
Yeah, your favorite rugby star posts that, and you're like, you're right, man. I shouldn't be doing this. I don't know. It's just like,
why post it?
I mean,
just who?
What was that?
Like, why even post it? That's sort of
that's
the mindset
another
I
point.
have. Is just like, is it really that hard to not post anything, even if you do have these thoughts?
I mean,
is it really
comes down to
a
another
surprise
thing.
For you to get fired? Is he really that surprised?
Well, we should get to that point again in a second, but it's annoying because it's an extension of another thing I hate, where people sort of, when they post on social media, and I don't know exactly how to explain it, but like people post on social media like very like, I guess, stuff to make them look good.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So like as a Christian, you would post something like that to get like Christian clout on social media. That's just what it is. Like you're not really trying to help anybody. You're doing that in the same way that, you know, a girl posts her ass on social media. Like you're just looking for compliments.
Sure. Yeah.
And I mean, I could understand wanting to get your message to a lot of people, but if you cared about, you know, someone in your life or whatever who's homosexual, and you truly believe that that's wrong and they're going to hell, then you would like privately talk to them about it.
Yeah.
And you would be like, this is why I think that, and it's out of concern for you or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is not something I agree with, but if I did, I think that's the way I would go about it. But it's just like an annoying, like, it's so annoying how people do that, because whatever you say, because when you say something on social media, right, it's not like just saying it.
Yeah.
It's like being around a group of people and telling them, hey, I said something the other day. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
especially for a celebrity or someone,
a
public figure.
Yeah, like, it's just telling people that, I don't know. Yeah, basically, in this case, it's Christian clout chasing, as I said. And I guess the last thing I'll say about at least the Christian angle of this is I also think it's funny because, like, the dude has tattoos.
Yeah.
Like, how strict are you going with your rules? Because, like,
is that
like
the thing in Christianity? No tattoos?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look in the Bible, there's at least one verse. There might be more that relate to it, but about like not creating markings, or later translations have tattoo. I don't think it ever really said tattoo, but basically like not marking your flesh, more or less.
No tattoos, my dude.
Yeah. The Bible just says no tattoos unless 18 plus.
Unless it's a cross.
Yeah. That's the funniest thing too, is like, because like Christians love getting like a cross tattoo.
Yeah.
Especially like growing up with my Italian boys. Us Italians love to get a cross on the back, and then like also like your last name or some shit, as if people need to know your last name. yeah, people love cross tattoos. They love religiously themed tattoos because I guess religion is important to them, and I'm not trying to bash that.
Right.
But I think it's funny that like you get that, but then like if you're gonna adhere to the strictest form of your religion,
No tattoo.
then that they say don't mark your body. So why are you doing that? And you're doing that to Christian clout chase once again, which is funny. Because I mean that's what tattoos are too. Tattoos are just like a weird social media post in a way, where it's just sort of like, look at me, man.
Would you ever get a tattoo, Josh?
No, I don't think so.
Not even
Like-
the cross on your back with your last name under it?
My last name.
Your last
Definitely
name
not
spelled
that.
in the original Italian way, though.
Mussolini. Fucking. I don't know. At one point, I thought about getting it. I sort of wanted to get a tattoo. Have you ever played the game Shadow of the Colossus?
No, but I'm familiar with it.
So in the game, you fight these colossuses or whatever, and you're a tiny guy and they're giant. And on their bodies, they have these markings.
Yeah.
That signify like where a weak spot is for you to stab.
Mhm.
And for a while, I thought about getting one of those on like my back above like my surgery scar
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. 'Cause,
This
like,
is my weak spot.
yeah, that's my weak spot because
Yeah.
I have a shit heart. And so I thought about that for a while. I mean, I never like too seriously contemplating, but that was like the one I thought about. But in
Right.
reality, the design is kind of ugly. So it's like,
Let me look.
do I really want to do it for the meme?
Shut.
Like, I don't think it looks good as a standalone design.
Yeah, I'm seeing some people with that. Some pictures.
Yeah, well,
are
that's
coming
the
up.
other. That's the other thing too. Is like people have done it.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm seeing a lot of tattoos of that.
yeah, there are a few.
Oof, dodged the bullet there.
David Ortiz didn't.
But he survived.
Yeah, he's fine.
Um,
He knocked it out of the park.
it's out of there.
I'm glad you're
That's
okay.
what the
Big
doctor
Papi.
said when they were performing surgery on it. He's gone. Beep.
Hey, what were you saying? The other side.
All right, so there's like the other side of this, which is like, outside of that, which I think, once again, I think there's an interesting line to draw there where it's like, well, I think people should have both their freedom of religion and their freedom of speech,
Mm-hmm.
but also you have to understand when you're employed by something that's very, very publicly facing.
Yeah.
You need to know that, and then at the same time, don't be an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I'm going to assume the Australian Rugby Union is a private company. So
Yeah.
when you sign a contract with them,
you follow the rules.
follow the rules.
The other side of this is how arrogant are you to make a GoFundMe?
Yeah, that's
Um,
that was a
considering
thing.
you make more money than 99% of humanity, basically.
Yeah, you're making $4 million on.
Well, didn't make all of it.
Yeah. So he's obviously a rich guy.
I mean, so when you look him up, like on Google or whatever,
Yeah.
his salary, it says, is 1.5 million Australian dollars in 2012,
Okay. In
which I think
2012.
is like, yeah. So I think that's like closer to like US a million, maybe slightly more than that.
Yeah,
If I'm not
probably something
mistaken. And that was in 2012. You would imagine, at least the article I looked at, cited him as one of the best rugby players right now. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, in 2019, he became the record holder for most tries scored in Super Rugby history.
like
So
whatever
you
that
imagine
means.
every year he's going to be making more,
Yeah, and
and probably pretty substantially more if in 2019 we're at 4 million.
I think
And that's Australian dollars. I guess it doesn't matter that much, but
yeah. Another thing is his wife is a professional netball player, so you have to imagine she makes a decent amount of money as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. In all honesty, fuck his GoFundMe campaign because
Yeah, no. Because, like, first of all, you're fighting a legal battle you cannot win.
yeah, and you're
Because
also fighting a legal battle you decided to get into.
that's true. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the angle he's going is my religious freedoms are being attacked. If you believe in these religious freedoms and want to set a precedent, you should support this GoFundMe.
Yeah.
That's like a pretty common tactic. um, and yeah, it's just, first of all, yeah, it's his fight for something that's just stupid that he did.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, you've been making millions for years. Obviously, if he's like properly paying his taxes and whatnot, and I'm sure he has like a lifestyle to uphold. I'm sure a lot of that is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But still, like, that's on you for spending it. Like, it's not. This is no one's problem but your own.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe your fans who it's a problem with. I don't know. But I don't think he reached his goal anyway.
No, but he did get. I don't know how it works. Is it, do you not get the money if you don't reach the goal? Is that how it works, or?
Well, certain things. So, like, I think GoFundMe has the option for flexible funding.
Okay.
Which is, if you don't reach your goal, you still get the money. I don't know. I don't know how that would work for legal defenses. Also, I don't know how he reached that amount in his mind, where it was like, what, like 3 million or something?
Yeah, he put 3 million.
I don't know where you get that number from.
I assume
but
3 million Australian. Which is still a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. I mean, suing suing anything that large obviously would take a lot of money. Well, first of all, you won't win. Second of all, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money, and it's just a waste. I understand, once again, I'm getting tired of saying this, honestly, but for Christian clout, it's sort of the step you have to take. Like, you have to fight it.
Yeah.
Because you're showing that, like, you believe in what you believe in.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, dude, but at the same time, I don't get what the fuck you're doing. It's just we're in a weird time where I think people who stick to very traditional religious values are clashing with the rest of society, more or less. Where, I don't know, especially the more connected we are, because I mean, this is based around social media. It's just like the more, I don't know what grand point I was trying to make there, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think there was a tweet by like one of his former teammates.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how close they were or whatever, but he was saying like, you chose to get in this fight, and meanwhile there are so many like kids on that website fighting a fight they didn't choose to be in, and you think you deserve more money than they do for their like medical issues and whatever it is. When this guy was looking at the GoFundMe page for him, Israel Folau's campaign was like surrounded by like basically dying kids asking for money.
Right.
So all around Israel Folau is all these young children, and they're so far behind what he's earning in donations.
Right. Yeah.
It's pretty dumb. But I didn't even realize that was a teammate of his until I read an article, a former teammate of his, I guess.
There's another angle to it that I didn't really think about, but I mean, yeah, it's sort of an extension of something that I was saying before the podcast, that it's funny how, you get to a certain point in success where, problems, you just sort of make problems. Like, there aren't real problems.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you getting fired from and removed from your $4 million contract, like,
it sucks, but
that sucks, but it's such an alien concept to some like kid who's dying of cancer and who's never even worked.
yeah.
like that doesn't mean anything to someone who's trying to survive.
Yeah.
It's
It
so
it reminds me
context
a
and
bit of. Do you remember the Hope Solo controversy?
where she showed her nasty pussy off. Yeah. I'm sorry. I think they were leaked pictures of her, so I shouldn't say that she did that.
Yes.
But it was not pleasant. I'll say that one.
No, she there was a domestic violence issue. She beat her nephew or something.
All right, she's an asshole, so fuck her anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she got released from her contract from the U.S. Soccer Federation.
Yeah.
And then there was this video of her after 13 fucking years, they're just gonna fire me like that.
After 13 years of beating my husband. Or boyfriend or whatever, I can't remember what it was.
Her nephew.
Oh, her nephew.
Yeah, he wasn't even legally an adult. I think he was 17 at the time.
Well, you should only beat adults.
Yeah. And yeah, I can't remember exactly what the case was. I don't know if if all that ever came to light and it was not true, but based on the facts I know of at the moment, was that she was intoxicated, he was underage, she beat him, and she got fired for that. And she made a big deal about how much she's done for the U.S. Soccer Federation. She's won a World Cup, blah 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 blah. But hey man, you commit a crime, you fucking get fired.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what your impact has been, even if overall it's been so positive, and even if you've created, if you've shaped and created the direction of a sport, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing when that's funny because you don't I guess you don't hear it as much from soccer, but especially very combative sports, you've got people who just constantly just every month or so you hear about some new person beating their wife or any other amount of things.
Yeah,
getting released.
Baseball just had one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a guy on the Phillies. He just got arrested for domestic violence.
I mean that's kind of. I mean, so domestic violence isn't funny. Let me say that, but it would be a baseball player, right? Because baseball players, I don't know, especially from Philly, because baseball players in Philly, they just kind of look like dudes from Philly, just regular ass dudes. Just you go to work, you come home, you beat your wife, and then.
Oh, here, you can look this guy up. His name is I'm gonna send it to you so you get the spelling. It's a weird name. His name is Odubel Herrera.
Odubel Herrera.
Yeah, he just got. Okay, so Hope Solo, she was charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of assault in the 4th degree, one against her half sister and the other against her nephew. She pleaded not guilty. Her trial needed more depositions. Following her arrest, she sat out 1 game for her club, but the league allowed her to continue playing until the end of the season. January 2015, the judge dismissed the charges against Solo, based on a lack of cooperation from both alleged victims. Solo claims she was defending herself from an attack from her nephew, who is 6'9". Jesus. However, prosecutors filed an appeal. Prosecution prevailed in October 2015. Charges were reinstated. The state appeals court denied Solo's petition to review the case.
I think she's still playing.
I think she retired.
Oh, from 2000 to 2016.
Yeah. 2016 was when the case pretty much wrapped up. So 2016, the state appeals court denied Solo's petition. Okay, so I guess that means she was charged. But then last year, she was dismissed of all domestic violence charges.
Hmm.
Oh. So maybe she didn't do anything. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe we don't know the full story. But I still don't like how her vagina looks.
And that's the most important thing.
Yeah. But no, yeah, it is fucking crazy. I was just reading about this Odubel guy. Like, that is another weird. It's just like, if you're not posting on social media something that's going to get you fired.
Yeah.
You're in a very successful position in your life, and somehow you still are like, I'm having a fight with my girlfriend. Let me get physically involved instead of just removing myself from the situation and continuing my successful life. It's like, dude.
Yeah, dude, you're a Major League Baseball player. You're earning bank. Could you just not fuck up?
Yeah, just like, or like fuck up in a different way. Like, this way is like so easy to avoid.
Yeah, just
obviously
get really
you get
drunk.
Angry.
Hell, fucking take PEDs, dude.
It's like, I don't know. Maybe having more money heightens things. I don't know.
Who knows?
But like, I'm a normal guy. When I get angry, I just like walk away. You know. But maybe if I was making a lot of money, I'd have to beat people.
Moving on to another outrage.
And this one is arguably even worse than Big Papi getting shot.
Yeah. This is a huge no-no. How about you say it? Because you're more familiar with it.
Oh yeah, I'm much more familiar with the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Well, no, so everybody knows Tom Holland. He's a little bit of a trickster. He lets slip a couple spoilers every now and then.
He's a
people
snitch.
So far. That's right. And so everybody was on board when he was spoiling shit beforehand. And he was like, "Oh, just give it a little peek." But apparently, when he appeared on the Graham Norton show, that's such a weird show to me, by the way, because
I love Graham Norton though. I think it's the most entertaining talk show.
It puts like a bunch of like these like somewhat unrelated celebrities next to each other.
Yeah, but it works.
And I'm like, what the fuck are they doing together? And then you hear like the one talking about whatever they're doing, and the other celebrity has like no idea what any of that's about.
Yeah, but
like when Arnold was on.
I think a lot of it is like, I like that sort of format. He also lets them drink, so it helps make them get a little loose.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the format is definitely it definitely works. I just find it funny.
Yeah, it is funny. Like you have I remember one time they had like Emilia Clarke, Jake Gyllenhaal, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Cara Delevingne. Now Jake Gyllenhaal has like big thick eyebrows. Emilia Clarke and Cara Delevingne have also famous eyebrows, so he had them do like an eyebrow off. That was pretty.
Yeah, and Arnold was just sitting there like
he was the judge. Like they had him judge the contest, and then it was such a waste too because he was co-starring with Emilia Clarke, and he's like, "Who wins?" And then he's just like, "Emilia, do you want to win?" She's like, "Yeah, okay, she wins."
It's like hanging out with your grandpa, dude.
Yeah. And then some kid in the back just kicks him.
just drop kicks him and says, "I'm hurt. Where's my Lamborghini?" I woke up in a new Bugatti. And if you all don't know what we're talking about when we talk about drop kicking Arnold Schwarzenegger, just look that up on YouTube.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he was on the Graham Norton show, which I think he's been on before, and he basically dropped a spoiler about the end of Avengers Endgame in talking about the new Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Or the upcoming Spider-Man sequel. And people were upset by this. Even though it's been like a month since it came out?
April? Yeah.
Or at least maybe 2 months, actually.
Almost 2 months, I guess.
Which is really crazy that it's still in the theaters, but I mean, if it's making money. But yeah, people were upset by that. But you brought up the point. That's sort of like, well, Tom Holland had said, sorry about the spoiler, but if you haven't watched it, you're living under a rock, basically.
Yeah, and I'd agree with him 100% because, look, and you haven't seen the movie, right?
No, because I live under a rock.
There you go. You're Patrick Star.
Yeah.
No, you really do either live under a rock. If you are interested in seeing the movie and you haven't seen it, you are living under a rock, or you're just not interested in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, you can only have so much of a grace period in not receiving spoilers. And dude, if you're watching Graham Norton and you're watching Tom Holland, and you know Tom Holland's about to talk about this his Spider-Man sequel, which takes place right after Endgame, you only have yourself to blame.
Classic victim blaming, Ray. Just like you blame that poor Hope Solo. Hope Solo is the daughter of Han Solo after he dies in Star Wars. Spoiler alert.
Spoilers. and
if you haven't seen the new Star Wars, you're living under a rock.
And here's the thing about the whole spoiler thing with regards to Marvel.
Yeah.
They very publicly said that there was a spoiler ban lifted. The directors, basically
as far as like the actors talking about it,
the actors posting about it on Twitter, things like that. The spoiler ban was lifted, mostly because the Spider-Man trailer, which would have plot points from Endgame, was coming out that Monday. Right. So they had to lift a spoiler ban so that the trailer could come out. And in that trailer coming out, in the very beginning of the trailer, Tom Holland says, "Hey guys, before you go watch this trailer, just letting you know, this will spoil Endgame. So if you haven't seen Endgame, do not watch this trailer yet." So I don't know what the fuck people are doing if they're upset about Tom Holland, who is notorious for spoiling things to begin with.
It's such a weird new thing.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe back in the day people spoiled books. I don't know, but I mean, it's sort of an extension of what I was talking about before with if you live like a pretty comfortable life as far as a human goes, you start making up problems. So people become upset about these wonderful moving pictures being spoiled for them.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're literally seeing magic on the screen.
Yeah.
While you eat your overpriced food that you buy not because you're hungry, but because you can afford it. God, I sounded like a like a communist rebel there. As you fill
Agreed,
your American
comrade.
pig stomach. Meanwhile, my family starves in gulag. Tom Holland. No, my accent went way off there. Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Tom Holland spoiled the end game for everyone who lives in poverty. They die.
Yeah. It's.
I
don't know what it is about fantasy fans, I guess.
Yeah.
They get a little I feel like they sometimes get heated for no reason.
That's exactly. I mean, even outside of spoilers, people find reasons to get very upset.
Yeah.
About anything. You know,
Yeah.
about the actual content of the movie, about I mean, name anything, they can get upset about it. Which in some ways is nice because then people are really attached to your franchise.
Yeah, I mean that's
means that you're going to make a lot of money.
That's one aspect of it, right? I think people getting upset at maybe the way something went for a character you've written. It shows that, hey, you've done a really good job at making these people connect with this character.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they're characters. They don't exist.
Yeah, I think we talked about that before.
I think so. I think
sort of
I think I was talking
people's
about
expectation.
Yeah, for Tony Stark and how he died, and everyone was all like, "Oh, he never got the life he wanted."
Oh, bring him back! Bring him back!
He's not real.
Yeah, right. I think we talked about it. I can't. Maybe we didn't have this conversation. I feel like we talked about it in terms of J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
Or something like just like people
get
very attached to these characters.
Yeah.
And they suddenly think that they can that their interpretation of the story is more important than the writers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and
I mean, to be fair, in the case of Harry Potter, I think that might be correct. I think the fans might know better.
yeah, I feel like I don't know. I just love the memes that have come out of the whole J.K. Rowling thing.
Oh yeah, I mean this is a bit late, so they've sort of died down.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. They're still out there though. I feel like anytime there's a big Harry Potter announcement, the memes come back.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, we definitely did talk about that because
yeah,
I remember you saying like
she's
she
gone off
reveals
the
you've been
rails
gay
a
the
little
entire
bit.
time.
Oh, the reader.
Yeah, it was you, the reader, who's been gay the entire time.
That's my favorite one.
Meanwhile, Israel going. Le faux.
Folau.
Oh, I was doing like a French last name, Le Fou.
Remy LeFou. I mean, just on the topic of Spider-Man, I'm actually pretty excited for the movie.
What is this, Spider-Man Homecoming, or is that
Far From Home?
Far From Home? Homecoming already came out?
Homecoming was his first solo MCU movie.
Oh, so that was a while ago.
Yeah. I think 2016. It's been a while.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's where I still am mentally.
I actually looked up like spoilers for it. Not like they were potential spoilers. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie yet. It's not out yet. But they're potential spoilers, and I looked it up because I'm kind of curious. I'm not too invested in the experience of like finding out what happens in the Spider-Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wanted to see like if the spoilers could maybe help me get more excited. No,
That's a weird thing.
I'm not the biggest fan of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I like Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I think it's better than the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. But
So you're a purist. You're a
Tobey
Maguire kind of guy.
No, it's just that the Tobey Spider-Man, I think, did a really good. They really serviced the character of Peter Parker really, really well.
Tobey had a better loser vibe.
That's essentially what I'm alluding to.
Yeah.
I think
like the rest of these guys are just like too even with being lame. To be fair, I haven't seen any of the other Spider-Mans except the Tobey Maguire one.
Mm-hmm.
And but the rest of them are just kind of like the impression I've gotten. And I think people have talked about is just like even in being losers, they're just like too cool sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like they're not necessarily like actually cool, but like the character.
Yeah. They're
sort of just like a bit too cool for school.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a shitty thing to say about Tobey Maguire, but it's just like Andrew Garfield was too hot to be Peter Parker.
Hey, look, we don't have to feel bad for Tobey Maguire. He was in the Pussy Posse with sure. Who's that?
What's the Pussy
Who's that
Posse?
expanding face freak?
Expanding face.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. I was wondering what the fuck you were talking about.
Talking about some X-Men shit. Expanding face.
I'm like Mr. Fantastic from Fantastic Four.
Stretches his face.
No, but I think the most essential thing about Peter Parker is that he's always down on his luck. Mostly
Right.
because he has to make the hard choice and focus on being Spider-Man, and because of that, his personal life kind of falls to the wayside. He can't make time for his girlfriend. He can't make time for his job. He can't make, he loses his apartment and shit, stuff like that. I think those are essential to the story of Peter Parker. And I think with Andrew Garfield and with Tom Holland, we haven't really seen that side of things. We've seen a more entertaining Spider-Man.
Yeah.
More energy, more quips. People like the quips. But at the end of the day, I think when you watch a superhero movie, sure, you do watch it for the superhero, but you also watch it for these characters, the people behind the mask, and things like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's definitely more important. Um, like unless you're just looking for the action.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Spider-Man's story, I think, is sort of better off as more of the sadder story.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like,
And I think that's kind of why I'm a little excited for this movie, is because so obviously in this universe we've never met Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben's already been dead, because why would you want to revisit that? Because in the last 10 years you've already seen Uncle Ben die like twice. So we know he's dead. But the thing is, like, we don't really see what the repercussions are, like, mentally, I guess, or emotionally for Peter Parker. So
right.
I think the fact that he was close to Tony Stark, I think we can see Tony Stark be the sort of Uncle Ben in this universe. So I'm pretty stoked about that. I'm stoked that Tony Stark is dead.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I can't wait until Uncle Ben comes back as Doc Ock. It's only made me more powerful. I told you. Great responsibility. Crushes the Infinity Gauntlet.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Well, I mean, yeah, and let's not hide behind, one of the reasons that I like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is because the best memes come out of it.
Dude, I think I was telling you this. I might have brought this up before, but I had rewatched Spider-Man like several months ago. And
yeah, I think you did.
Yeah, I couldn't. There were a lot of scenes I couldn't take seriously just because of the memes that came out of it.
Pizza time. That's when he's giving the pizza to
Bones.
Deschanel, yeah.
Yeah.
Who I know from Bones.
Yeah, Light.
Which is kind of funny because
she's got the super New York accent too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Light.
I'm
not paying for
watched that movie. You're like, I'm not paying for these. Pizza time. He said sadder this time.
Pizza time.
Pizza. He just turns into Little Caesars. Pizza.
That's after he's had a big head injury.
Yeah. When he fucking smashes his skull and the kids say, "How do you do that?" He says, "Eat your vegetables."
Oh, man.
But yeah, it's funny because I watched that movie. I can't remember when it came out, but I probably watched it well before I ever saw Bones or whatever. But I only remembered her from Bones.
Mm-hmm.
So like upon seeing like that clip again or whatever, like I realized like, oh, that's Bones.
Hey, Bones.
I mean, I don't know why we had a full conversation about Spider-Man, but we did.